And we're live and on the air, and this is the TWIS Minion Science Island Hangout. I'm Ed Dyer from the great state of Connecticut. We're having a fabulous winter. That's not winter. The kind of winter I love. Joining me is my Canadian friend Dale, who gets real serious winter up there.
Well, it's not bad this year. It's real good this year. Not too cold at all.
And Dale, did you just passed some search and rescue training evaluation? You got yourself a nice shiny diploma you can hang up or something?
Yeah, that's right. If you don't die in the bush, then you get to pass.
That's a good test.
Yeah. So I'm here, so I passed. It's all good.
Also joining us is Richard. Richard, the astronomy guy. How you doing, Richard?
Richard Drumm, the astronomy bum. That's me, guilty as charged.
All 366 days of the year.
This year, it's true, 366 days of astronomy. Yeah, not 365.
And tonight, what we're going to be going over primarily is predictions for this year. My predictions, and perhaps some predictions from Dale and Richard, and then what Nature.com thinks are going to be the science stories for the year as well. If we get to it, I don't know if both of you guys might have heard that story about the British woman with the bionic eye. That's amazing. If we get to it, we can talk about cloning. Got an English couple. They went to South Korea to clone their dead dog. You get, new puppies or something, I guess. It'll be exactly like their old dog. Pamela's not here. Under the weird science, for me, weird technology, there are now companies coming up with vaginal speakers that will let you play tunes to your fetus. Wahoo! I don't know.
I think I have a problem with this because, like, it's female dominated, and they're not letting males do this sort of thing. So it's everything should be equal.
I would go along with you until you get to the whole birthing part. 12 hours of cramps, or I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah, that would be unpleasant.
All right. My predictions, and a couple of these are kind of low-hanging fruit, but the first one, and I'm saying there's going to be no significant increase in our understanding of dark matter, dark energy, or gravity, nor will they be for many years to come, at least 10 years. The extent of the increase in our understanding will be to eliminate what these phenomena aren't. But it's a good thing to know how little we do understand the universe, because it shows how much potential there is for us when we do learn more.
I can buy into that. I was trying to think of a way to disagree, but I can't.
Yep. Got me there.
What I think is we just don't have the technology. I mean, you're talking about like gravity. I don't know. I don't know what kind of tech. You take something like the LCH, Large Hadron Collider. That's not even close to having the power to, in effect, see inside gravity. Be able to smash the particle. We don't even know what gravity is made up of. I mean, you're probably going to need a machine 1,000 times more powerful to be able to do it. But I think where we'll gain more understanding is with computer modeling. The models doing the, the number crunching. So I think we'll make some progress, but that dark energy, dark matter, gravity, we're still going to be pretty clueless. The next thing is this new particle, this new observation, this little wiggly, squiggly line that the LHC has come up with, and it's not going to be confirmed as a new particle. There will be a great deal of debate. Physicists will get tons of funding, which is really what they really want, discussing what this thing is, what they think it is. But some findings coming from this research will be significant. I don't know what it is, but that's always an important thing. You're learning more. You're increasing our body of knowledge. That'll lead to something. Next one, and I know this is something that both myself and Dale have been following closely and really very positive about. And I'm saying human trials for medical treatments that use DNA editing technology will prove successful, and I'm saying 75+% of them will prove successful. We're going to get to the clinical trials, and these clinical trials, I think I'm very positive about that. The next thing, this is another thing where we made some tremendous leaps in 2015, and I think we're going to have even more, and that is prosthesis technology will result in giving more mobility to people with spinal cord injuries and loss of limbs, and increased use of 3D printed prosthesis will also make this technology cheaper and more available.
I'll buy that.
Yeah, that's all. This technology comes at a cost, but when you can start 3D printing things yourself, it really reduces the cost dramatically. I'm looking for a lot of progress there, just like we had last year, particularly spinal cord injuries, where last year we had the guy at UCLA who was paralyzed, and yet he was able to get up and walk, literally walk around. There's a video of him walking around with this technology. He was hooked up to, I don't know, some kind of a battery or something. That's amazing. Our friend climate change. There will be far more success at the individual and local community level than at the international government level in dealing with climate change problems. You know, we had the nice shiny conference. The leader said, we're going to do something. And, you know, they got some nice goals. But, you know, when they go back home, India is still going to build one of the largest coal plants in existence.
Yep.
So I don't see government doing much, but individuals. We're continually reading about how individuals are doing more, whole communities being created using solar technology. So I think there's going to be we're making progress, but it ain't going to be by the governments.
But the regulations don't have these teeth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think it's going to come down to it gets so cheap that you see it at your local hardware store. They're selling solar panels because people want to put them in because they want to save money. That'll be the turnaround point. And governments, doesn't matter what they do, people want value, and if they can get value out of it, that's going to change everything.
Yeah.
That better battery. You get that better battery, and you will go to, at some point, each of us using a battery hooked up to a solar panel to provide us with all the electricity. More people going off the grid. You're going to see more and more people going off the grid. Energy companies. I don't know. I'd be buying energy company stock right now, but
yeah, it's all imploding. Oil's imploding on itself.
yeah.
Isn't it $20-some a barrel now?
I don't know. But gasoline prices in the United States are still, in many places, hovering around that $2 mark. I mean, I'm paying like $2.30 a gallon, U.S. dollars, but that's mostly taxes.
Wonder what that is in liters. I don't know what that conversion is. When you say per gallon, it's hard to have a reference point.
No idea. I'm not good at the conversion thing. We all got to get on the same system. Come on. And we all know it's got to be the rest of the world's got to change to the American system. So come on. All right. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going to say there's one new species of hominin will be discovered. And there's a pretty good chance that there's some bones or something laying in a museum or somewhere, and a researcher is going to come along and discover this thing and say, hey, son of a gun, we found ourselves a new hominid. Homo nadali. Not only is that a new, that's the most complete skeleton, and we may know more about that particular hominid than any of the others we know about so far.
Yeah, what a fortunate thing to find 15 basically complete individuals. It's just, before you look at if you got just a jawbone or a couple of the bones, you might say, well, this could be a juvenile or it could be an adult. It could be a diseased individual. But no. Now we got 15 of them, and they're complete. No question. We know exactly what the range of sizes for the various bones, and they aren't through that cave yet. There's a lot more to be examined in that one cave. It's wonderful.
Amazing. And I want to shout out to our friend Mike, who's joined us in the chat room.
Mike Jobin?
Yep. So
Hi,
Mike,
Mike,
you want to make any predictions, feel free to post them in the chat area, and I will let the audience know about them. And the last one is something me and Dale were talking about in the pre-show. The Scanadu Scout
easy for you to say,
approved and will lead to a revolution in self-monitoring of health devices. People will increasingly be able to monitor their vital signs daily instead of waiting for a yearly exam, leading to more timely identification and treatment of health issues.
Yeah. That'd be cool, and link it all in with your smartphone to your physician, and they can take a look at the stuff. Your physician or your physician app. Well, I can make two predictions that I can guarantee you will actually come true.
Okay.
19, for those on the East Coast, at about 9:24 p.m. you can look at the moon and watch the dark edge of the moon. It'll be before first quarter. You'll watch the dark edge of the moon get closer and closer to the star Aldebaran, and if you watch, and it's a lot of fun to use a pair of binoculars and slowly watch it, and then the star's just hanging out, and then pow, just like that, it winks out. It's just an awesome thing to see happen.
And you can see it with just binoculars. I predict
Richard will freeze. Yeah, right. At any rate, my second prediction is May 9. Mercury will pass in front of the sun. For people on the East Coast of the U.S., it'll be in progress at dawn, and it'll end like around 2 p.m. or something like that, 1 or 2 in the afternoon. On May 9. No, wait, no, that's cheating.
No, I mean it's
we know this is going to happen.
How frequently do these occur?
Mercury transit happens almost as often as I freeze, I think. They have every couple of years, every like 4 or 5 years. I'm not sure. It's fairly often. Venus transits, on the other hand, happen in pairs, about 109 years apart. And so we just had our second Venus transit in our pair about 5 years ago, something like that, 4 or 5 years ago. But Mercury happens. Mercury's closer to the sun, and so the geometry works.
Well, that kind of a prediction, mark it on your calendar. Particularly anybody interested either in astronomy. That's got to be pretty cool watching that little transit, the little wink that disappears.
Yeah, you have to have a solar telescope to watch the Mercury transit, but I'll have mine set up. I've got a couple of them, and I'll have them set up probably on Charlottesville's downtown mall. Yeah,
In a mall, that's good.
yeah, it's where the people are.
Dale, you got any predictions?
My first prediction is the United States will adopt the metric system. Prediction 2, didn't Obama just recently do something with gun control? Didn't he? He made some sort of declaration or something.
Yeah.
So they're gonna eliminate that amendment, so you can't carry guns anymore. That's prediction 2. Prediction 3 is, who's that one guy trying to get in the White House? Donald Trump. He's going to be the president, and his vice president will be the North Korean dictator. He's going to bring him in, and they're going to rule together. And North Korea and the United States will become a single country, and they'll go halfway in between, and they'll adopt that halfway between dictatorship and free country, because Trump will make it make sense, because it'll make money. It's a moneymaker.
And Trump will
Dale,
North Slope.
Yeah, Trump. If that happens, Dale, I can guarantee you there'll be an influx of Americans to Canada. You got a spare bedroom?
Yeah, there's lots of room up here. It's cold though. Bring a jacket. Although that is the weather prediction. The one serious prediction I have is weather going into this spring is going to be absolutely berserk. More berserk than it is now. We had the North Pole that was above freezing at this time of year, which is crazy. You know, we had snow down south. We're in for a crazy weather year, and I think it's going to be berserk, and I think it has to do with El Nino and global warming in tandem. And I think things will calm somewhat, but not as calm as they used to be. But the next El Nino cycle after that, I think, will even be more insane.
We're on a trend. No reason to believe that trend is going to do anything but continue upward like it has been for like the last 75 years or so.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're in for some major disasters.
And that even for people who I don't know that there's any credible climate change deniers out there anymore. A couple of them running for our presidency, maybe, but you know, even with that, you still have to prepare. If you're a governor of a state and you're on the coast, like South Carolina or something, and even if you're conservative and you don't believe in the climate change and you're worried if we do something like Richard's showing, solar panels that'll disrupt the economy, you still have to be worried about and do something about your people living on the coast, because those storms are going to come and they're going to get worse, and you're going to, you know, well, one, it's going to cost lives, and two, you're going to spend bunches of money.
Yeah, unfortunately, I predict that I may be on a flight down south, because I think hurricane-wise, that's where all that energy really hits and impacts, like the U.S. coastlines. So if it overwhelms resources bad enough, you can be sure that other countries will be sending people down there. So,
ever do any storm chasing, Dale?
No, not really. Not really. I've always been interested in that, but I don't really see it as a... There's people that chase storms. I don't know a lot about it, but I don't think there's a lot of science to be had into doing that. I think if you leave that to the real scientists, I think what they're looking for is action that's a sellable commodity.
No, I think you're right there.
Yeah, my global warming thing is in my screen share down there. This year I'm planning on setting up some sort of a solar panel array. That array that you see made by Sedona Solar, the individual panels can track the sun as it moves across the sky during the day.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like you say, that technology is improving every year.
What part of the country are you in, Richard?
Charlottesville, Virginia.
Oh, okay. And how far is that from the coast?
3-hour drive.
Oh, okay. So you're inland a little bit, but and again, that's East Coast, right?
Right.
So you don't see, do you see the same storms as is it kind of equal East and West Coast?
Well, we'll get more action from hurricanes than they will. We don't get the tornadoes like the people in the middle of the country do.
Hmm. Interesting. I always wondered how long, like some of these places that have been decimated by hurricanes, how long does it take to rebuild? Like, is it literally, are they certain parts of the country still building and you never quite recover? How does that usually work?
Well, they still haven't fixed things from Katrina yet, so it can take a long time.
So it just has to naturally, at a certain point, it just evolves as capital comes back into the community, and that's a slow.
Yep.
It's not like there's a pile of cash available just to.
No. And even when there is, the fine Texas Republicans find a way to shut it down. They voted against New Jersey having any kind of relief after Sandy a couple years ago.
That's what I don't get is, to me, in my own thinking, maybe it's socialist thinking, but we're all kind of in it together, and there is nothing more important than just trying to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what is money? And like, money only does so much for you. At a certain point, as long as your basics are covered, you can be reasonably happy.
Mm-hmm.
I got that from Warren Buffett. Someone asked him a question and said, "Must be so nice to be rich." And and his comment back to him was, "You know what? There's some things that I can do that you can't, and I can get on a private jet, and there's a few things like that, but you can get on a plane, and you can do all the things that I can do. I still buy my shirts at Walmart. My life really isn't that much different." And I thought, like money, what can it buy you at a certain point other than just collecting more money?
Right, it becomes a burden. Trying to keep the taxes from taking it all or whatever.
Yeah, why not distribute it and try to educate, help people?
Yeah. Buffett has been a bit of quite a exemplar of how you deal with extreme wealth.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know. There's one of the wealthier communities, or at least there was, about 20 miles from me, Greenwich, Connecticut. People with the yachts and everything else, and some of them deal. And I worked as a bank as an auditor, or interacted with some of them, and some of them, the smart ones, don't let all that money dramatically affect how they live. It's not, they have to have the huge yacht. I've met some of them, and you wouldn't know they were rich by the way they dress and everything else, and they're very practical. And then, of course, there's others that are just, and that's, you made an important point, is money in itself doesn't mean that much. Once you get past the security thing, I've got a guaranteed income coming in. Not as nearly as much as a lot of other people, but it's a guaranteed income. It's all I need. What the heck do you need? You need a Lamborghini? I got a car I paid $20,000 for 15 years ago. It works perfectly fine.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about. I know there's a lot more people out there that they want to look the part. They want to look rich, but they're not, and they go to very extensive means to buy that car they can't afford, and they leverage themselves. That's more of what I see. The real rich people, I don't think there's tons of them out there. But the ones that are out there, you hardly ever get to meet them because, they're so few, but they do have a big pile of money, the largest proportion.
Yeah,
It'd
the
be interesting.
so-called 1%.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to, find out what would be in somebody that's truly loaded, what their thoughts actually are.
I've met and talked to a couple. I know one guy. When I worked at the bank, he was a director. I mean, he had his own game preserve down in Georgia, I think. He owned a yacht, and you could still sit down and talk to the guy. Like I did sometimes in a lunchroom. He went to the employees' lunchroom, and he was cheap. I don't know. I sat down next to him and just had a regular conversation. So they're people. They're just people. You get some real jerks who don't have much money.
I wonder if that's the norm, or is that sort of not normal for somebody of that tax bracket? I wonder what the average person is like.
Reading about Bill Gates, for instance, even Steve Jobs. Bill Gates, his goal is to give all his money away before he dies. And you're seeing that more of that. Instead of the passing on the inherited wealth to your family, like the Rockefellers and whatever, the Koch brothers, I think you're seeing an increasing number of these billionaires who are being more philanthropic and not the idea of I've got to pass this wealth on to my children. So,
when you ask yourself what has meaning in life, the only thing that really has true meaning, I mean, you have to support your own family, you need a certain level of income, for safety. But then after that point, the only thing that really has meaning is trying to help other people. What else is there? I don't get it.
Think it help me.
Yeah.
Hey Dale, you want to send me some money? I can go trade. I can go and sell in that old $20,000 car and get myself a nice new shiny car.
Awesome.
That would be helping.
We'll go in half and half for Google car. Yeah.
I'm going to go on to an interesting article in Nature.com talking about what they think are going to be the science stories for this year. And the first one they're talking about is soaking up CO2. And it's a Swiss company is set to become the first firm to capture carbon dioxide from the air and sell it on a commercial scale, a stepping stone to larger facilities that could one day help to combat global warming. Around July, a company called Clemworks, and they're going to start by capturing 75 tons of CO2 per month in their plant in Zurich, Germany, and then selling the gas to nearby greenhouses to boost crop growth. And it's the recycling part of it that really, I think, gets me excited. Again, that commercial aspect of it. You got another company, Canada, called Carbon Engineering from Calgary, Canada, which has been capturing CO2 since October, but is yet to bring it to market in hopes to show that it can convert the gas into liquid fuel. Facilities worldwide already capture the gas from power plant exhaust, but until 2015, only a small demonstration projects sucked it out of the air.
I don't know. Things in Calgary are real tough right now with the oil market just sort of going bust. Calgary's in real bad shape. So I don't know if companies in there, if they're getting their dollars locally, it may be if they're in the position where they need to raise funding. If it was coming from oil money, they're going to have some challenges, I think, if that's what it is.
It's starting small, and the Carbon Engineering opened the plant in Squamish, British Columbia, and they capture and process a ton of CO2 per day. That'll get a car about 5,000 kilometers, so you're not talking about capturing vast quantities of CO2, but it's a start. And how they do it. The plant uses fans to push air through towers containing potassium hydroxide solution, interacts with the CO2 to form potassium carbonate. The remaining air, now containing less CO2, is released. Further treatment of the solution separates out the captured CO2, regenerating the captured solution for reuse. These processes are currently powered by electricity, which in British Columbia is mainly generated by hydroelectric sources. Initially, the company will re-release the captured CO2. Carbon Engineering last week said it signed a contract, 333,000 US dollars, 435,000 Canadian dollars, deal with the province of British Columbia to assess the potential of turning CO2 into fuel for powering local buses.
Hmm.
All right. The next thing, and this is something we've already talked about, but human trials will get underway for treatments that use DNA editing technologies.
Right.
Sagamoa Biosciences, Richmond, California, will test the use of enzymes called zinc finger nucleases to correct a gene defect that causes hemophilia. Another company working with Biogene of Cambridge, Massachusetts, will also start a trial to look at whether the technique can boost a functioning form of hemoglobin in people with the disorder Maya or something like that. Scientists and ethicists hope to agree on broad safety and ethical guidelines for gene editing in humans in late 2016.
Interesting that they're not using CRISPR. They're using zinc finger nucleotides instead.
Yeah.
Okay. If it works, it works. Yeah, hemophilia, you can forget that.
And related to that, sorry. Go ahead, Richard.
No, and Tay-Sachs disease, that CRISPR-Cas9, or maybe this, look back and say, oh, I had hemophilia, haha, wasn't it funny? Yeah, that was stupid. Why did they tolerate that? You know, that day will come.
Yeah.
One of the things when you're getting governments examining the ethics of gene editing, I know, okay, you need some guidelines, obviously, but that worries me a bit. I don't want government politicians really slowing down what could be this process. And that's one of the things that Nature.com is talking about. It said that scientists will soon hear whether funding for research that makes viruses more dangerous can resume. In October, the U.S. government abruptly suspended financial support for something called gain-of-function studies. These experiments could increase understanding of how certain pathogens evolve and how they can be destroyed, kind of important, but critics say the work also boosts the risks for accidental release of deadly viruses. A risk-benefit analysis was completed in December of 2015, and the U.S. National Advisory Board for Biosecurity will issue recommendations in the next few months on whether to resume funding, potentially with tightened restrictions on research. I don't know, Dale, who do you trust, scientists or the politicians?
That's a real difficult one for me. I don't, like, I want to think the best of all scientists, thinking that if they say they've got it under control, I think if there is a massive, you know, something in the order of magnitude of like global warming science, how, you know, like as high as 99% are saying this is what's happening. I think if we had the same thing with this one scares me too a little bit, but I don't know enough about it and the risks. But if there was enough scientists on board, I'd lean towards letting them do it, but there'd have to be an overwhelming consensus.
Richard, how worried are you about the possibility or likelihood of doing research with these pathogens and they might be released? Is that a legitimate concern? How much of a concern do you think? It's a tough question.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and certainly the politicians, if there's some way to use fear about this to get reelected, they're going to do that. They'll ignore science and
next couple of things that Nature.com is talking about
use the fear
kind
to
of goes into space, Richard's area of interest. And this is high cosmic hopes. Well, this is gravitational waves. Physicists think there's a good chance they will see the first evidence of gravitational waves, ripples in space-time caused by dense moving objects such as spiraling neutron stars, thanks to the Advanced Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, LIGO. And Japan will launch Astro H, a next-generation X-ray satellite observatory that, among other things, could confirm or refute the claim that heavy neutrinos give off dark matter signals known as blue bolians, and hints of a potential new particle has been found in the Large Hadron Collider. Gravitational waves, I don't think we're going to learn much about gravitational waves. So I hope they do, but I'm kind of doubtful about that. But to Mars and beyond. The orbits of Earth and Mars will bring the planets close to each other this year, creating the perfect opportunity for a trip to the Red Planet. A joint mission between the European Space Agency and Roscosmos will capitalize. Roscosmos will capitalize on that chance. Launching in March, ExoMars 216 will analyze gases in Mars's atmosphere and test landing technology. Further afield, NASA's Juno mission will arrive at Jupiter in July. And in September, European Space Agency's Rosetta will make a death dive into the comet it orbits. But there will be a NASA launch of Osiris
Rex.
Osiris
Rex.
Yes, going to bring samples back from an asteroid, Richard.
Yes, no.
You're excited about the year. The year ahead for space.
There's a lot of cool stuff going on.
And landing on asteroids. That's an amazing achievement. I don't know if how many people, the average guy in the street really understands what an amazing achievement that is, particularly since these missions were launched years ago with older technology.
Yeah, but older but solid technology. They won't really so much land on Bennu as they will cozy up next to it and take a sample.
Okay.
Yeah, the Bennu is too small to have a significant gravitational field, and so they'll move up close to it, maneuver around it, and take pictures, figure out where they want to get their sample, then they'll just cozy up to it and get a sample and fly home.
How are they going to get the sample? Will it be from the atmosphere or something, or will they actually
There's no
land?
atmosphere. It doesn't really land because there isn't enough gravity to hold you to it. They're just going to move up next to it and take a sample. Thing's only like half a kilometer across. It's not really very big. It's not like
Some kind of space grabber thing. They'll just go out there and take a
go
chunk
next
of
to the moon, crash into it. No, it's just basically it's cold in space. I froze again.
Yeah. Now, space drive. Hot on the heels of the launch of the $100 million dark matter particle explorer last December, China's National Space Center will launch the second and third space science probes. It has in a planned series of 5. And the world's first quantum communications test satellite will blast off in June in the Hard X-ray Modulation Telescope, which will scour the sky for energetic sources of radiation such as black holes and neutrino stars, will fly by the end of the year. September will see China complete construction of the 500-meter aperture spherical radio telescope, FAST, which will supersede Puerto Rico's Arecibo
Arecibo.
Observatory is the world's largest radio telescope. And in Hawaii, the team behind the controversial 30-meter telescope, which had its construction permit revoked in December, will try to work it out and move forward. And microlife revealed. The first results from an ambitious project to analyze the world's microbial communities are expected this year. You've got the Earth Microbiome Project, which launched in 2010, and it aims to sequence and categorize at least 200,000 samples of microbial DNA taken from everything from the Komodo dragon tongues to soil in the Siberian tundra, and the project promises to uncover unprecedented levels of biological diversity. And the exciting thing to me there is how we're learning more and more about our own microbiome and how that's such an important part of our own health. The more we learn about it, the more we can take action to really significantly improve what we do about medical health problems.
Yep.
What do you think, Dale? How's your microbiome? I'm feeding mine bacon on a regular basis, so I think it's going to get pretty happy.
I think it's like what we're doing, we're on the cusp of so many amazing things in biology. The existing franchises are ripe for disruption, including hospitals, all sorts of other things. I think what will happen in 2016 is it'll be very clear that many of these large groups and entities that are running healthcare, they're going to be looking in their rearview mirrors because you got smart folks from MIT and all sorts of entrepreneurs that want in on that huge dollar pie. And I think ordinary people will win out. And I think 2016 is the year where it becomes official, where it's not here yet, but there will be a more common belief that things like the microbiome, its analysis, what it does to your body, how it affects things, the science there, and all these other things are going to get capitalized on. and health will improve, things will get cheaper, and 2016, I think, is the year people will begin to really get excited, and the average person will see the promise in it.
Very definitely. Something I think, Richard, Dale, you talked about a little bit, and this is on their Nature.com list. It says political upheaval. Well, that depends on who gets elected president.
Yeah.
Well, Trump, of course.
I don't know the word that would accurately fit. Upheaval, isn't a strong enough word to fit what would happen. I mean, as far as the Democrats are concerned, man, they're rooting Trump on. And he's making Cruz, who's also, I don't know if I want to use the word whack job, but by many standards, he's off on the right wing. But Trump is making him look reasonable. And I don't think Trump can win, but this guy Cruz got a reasonable chance of getting the Republican nomination because they got nobody else.
What surprises me is they're taken serious. I have so much trouble with that.
Yeah.
They're tapping into the perhaps increasing number of Americans who are frustrated, upset at the government, and they will simply vote for anybody who wants to reduce the role of the federal government. Not thinking it through, of course, to all the funding the government does for things through Medicare, etc. Just think people who live like in Louisiana, Mississippi, where they get these terrible storms, the hurricanes and stuff, and they rely on government funding. You've got that the guy who's occupying a wildlife refuge, and because he's this farmer, against the government. Well, the farmers are getting massive subsidies from that government. Mm-hmm. And you think it through, makes no sense. But a lot of people just don't think it through. I don't know.
Yep.
My prediction is Hillary Clinton's going to be the next president. And I think there's I don't know, I'll say 75% chance. I'm putting my money on her. Which means you won't see that much of a change in the executive branch. The big change would come, and I think this is less likely, is if the Democrats win enough seats to take control of the Senate, maybe even the House. You get a democratically controlled Congress and a Democratic president, then you're going to see more of that agenda that Obama and Clinton favor. But if that doesn't happen, and as I say, better than a 50% chance in my view that we'll get a Democratic president, but the Republicans will maintain control of Congress, then you're going to see the same kind of
stagnation.
Not a lot of thing happen.
Yep. The midterms are every bit as important as the presidential elections.
Yeah. All right, I think that about. Well, no, one more article here that I hadn't heard about.
Dream genes, huh?
Yes, dream genes. Ooh. Man, I got to tell you, I could use some dream genes right now. Neuroscientists hope to finally identify genes that are crucial to regulating the timing and duration of sleep, but have been difficult to tease out, possibly because they also have other functions in the brain. Pinpointing these genes could shed light on sleep disorders, some psychiatric illnesses, which scientists now realize are linked highly to disruptive sleep patterns. And that's certainly with the majority of people I know in my age bracket, 65 plus, the majority complain about not getting enough sleep. You know, I go into Facebook, so many of my Facebook friends talk about not getting enough sleep. Um, really seems to be a significant problem.
Hmm.
Mm.
If in fact,
I have a little bit of a problem. Yes, being up all night.
well, that's part of it in my case, because I'm a night owl. If I have to start doing things on everybody else's schedule, I have to get up early, and then my sleep system gets totally out of whack. I went to bed at 12 o'clock last night. I actually got maybe an hour of REM sleep, got up at 8 a.m., did a few things on the computer, etc., drove to the supermarket, came back, crashed for another 4 or 5 hours to take a nap, got maybe another hour of REM sleep, and things are getting a little fuzzy here. So I don't know. How about you, Dale? I don't know. You live with a lot of women.
That's true. Well, no, they're definitely not the issue when it comes to sleep. I have lots of opportunity to sleep. But just I'm predisposed to. I'll go from a cycle of sleeping very well, and then I'll have my moments where I'll go through a week or two where I can't sleep well at all. And I'm up all night, and you kind of just get frustrated because you're laying there, so you decide to get up and do something, and then you're tired the rest of the day.
Mm.
And
Just on Facebook, one of my friends tweeted about something called heavy blanket therapy that some psychologists use for therapy for children. And the claim is, at least for children, I don't know if it makes you nice, warm, and comfy, and I don't know, but it seems to work. This heavy blanket, magic blanket thing they call it. It costs about $110 for adults. That it has some success with getting adults who have problems sleeping get a better rest. I don't know. And the last thing on Nature.com's list, let there be light, they say. The sesame, the syntronic light. Synchrotron light for experimental science and applications in the Middle East facility will switch on in Jordan towards the end of 2016. The ring-shaped particle accelerator will generate intense light to probe materials and biological structures down to the atomic level. It is the region's first major international research facility and a rare collaboration between governments including Iran, Israel, and the Palestinian Authority. Support to build a similar facility in Africa is likely to gather pace, and in June, scientists will get to use bright X-ray beams at the world's first, fourth generation synchrotron Max 4 in Sweden. And that is, you've got some states in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and others, they have buckets of money. And if you can get these countries that kind of wealth engaging in more science research, that would be a major plus.
Do you want to hear something silly?
Sure.
In the city I live in, we have one of the largest synchrotrons right now in the world. I live just not too far from it, and it was made about 7 years ago, and it was larger, more powerful than somewhere down the U.S. there was one. But it sounds like, this one, I don't think they'd build it unless it was larger again. So, but yeah, they do lots of really interesting science. Watching them do nanotech with it and stuff, they do some great things.
Huh. Canadian Light Source Inc.
That's it.
Hmm.
Saskatoon.
Have you been to the facility, Dale?
Oh yeah, a lot, lots. I've known people that work there, work with it, people that do support. Yeah, there's a lot of research going on there.
That's good news. That's really good news. I mean, even in Canada, you're doing science. Who
That's
knew?
right. Yeah, they still drive a snowmobile to work, but
No, that's safer than driving a car.
that's right.
Yeah, I don't know about government funding, although the U.S. government, even a Republican-controlled Congress, did increase funding for both NASA and the National Health Organization. That's a very positive sign.
Hmm.
But a lot of research is we're finding profitable applications, and the business community is getting, I think, increasingly interested in funding science projects like SpaceX with Elon Musk, and you get that private sector money pouring in. That's got to be a big help.
They tend to be successful too when they got their own skin in the game.
Hmm.
I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about what I think could be a revolutionary product. It's the Scanadu Scout. And this, I'm going to screen share with you the site. You can see they've got two kinds of instruments. One is for monitoring your health. This is the first device named the Scanadu Scout. And let me see if I can click on the right one. I've got a write-up on it here somewhere. Let me see. Products. Yeah, that that didn't work. I got a.
Ooh. Urine is in yellow.
Ooh, yes, here we go. Colors change. They have a lot of information on the site. I can figure out how to click. Let's see. They got pictures of it. All right. Blah, blah, blah. I know the Indigo campaign has got pictures. Now they raised a couple of $1 million. They're sold out. First, and that's going to sell. It's going to sell for $200.
That's a good price point.
Yeah, considering what it can do.
Sure.
Let me see if I can find.
I'll screen share a still of it.
Okay.
It's Walter Brower's company.
Yeah, you've been reading a lot about it, Dale.
That's not very useful.
Yeah, he was an engineer that had to take his kid into the hospital, into the emergency room years ago, and had nothing to do with medicine, but he saw the difficulties and challenges they had, and he thought, the whole thing could have been done, a great deal could have been done by himself if the right tools were available. So he started on a mission to help other people, and that's how this product came to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's a cute little thing. I wonder how it, what it does, how it works.
Yeah. Let me see if I can go to the great God Google.
Looks like a slot in the front there for a USB port.
One end, you hold your finger over the top, and you press the other end to the temple, and there's sensors on both things. And I'm not sure how the internal workings work, but that's how it operates.
So there are two parts in this disc-shaped thing that I've screen shared. That's only part of it. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the top part where it says Scanadu, I think, is where your index finger goes, I think, and then the side
Right,
goes to your
right.
temple. I think.
Yeah, I can see a little clear window there. It's dark in this graphic that.
I saw a demonstration of it, and it was on YouTube. And this was someone who was in the clinical trials, actually one of the first responders, I guess. And what he did was he held it to the left side of his head for about a minute. He had to hold it there for a minute, and then it provided him. You could see it. I guess there's an interface between the device and a smartphone app,
Yeah, I'm screen sharing that too.
and it monitors a whole bunch of stuff. I apologize for.
Hmm.
I just want to know when I can buy one.
Well, as soon as the FDA approves it.
What does it read? Blood sugar?
Well,
Blood pressure?
no. There's two devices. The first device is that one you see right there, and that monitors your blood pressure. It monitors your pulse rate, your stress level, and a few other things. And the neat thing, you can see it with the smartphone he's got, is that it records this information, so you have a record on your smartphone of your daily readings. And then it can also show you a graph, like your blood pressure. So you can see a graph of how your blood pressure has been doing over a week, over a month.
Ah.
And it's got a permanent record. And that also helps because not like your doctor can also see what that graph looked like. So instead of the doctor relying on the test he's giving you at one time, the doctor is now seeing a lot of information over a longer period of time. And that's a big help. That's obviously a dramatic help. And the demonstration that I saw, the guy said that he went to he had a heart problems, and he showed it. I mean, he took the reading. His doctor took the reading. The two matched perfectly. So I really think this device is going to get approval. The other device is for a urine sample. It's got like a little spoon at the end. And what you do is you get a stick they give you, and you only have it's just take a urine sample. They only stick the stick into the urine sample, then touch the spoon, the pad, and that does an analysis. And what it does is you can see on the bottom of the device color coding, and the color coding interprets how much bacteria may be in that blood sample, your blood sugar level, and then you hook it up to your device in the same way, your smartphone, and it gives you the readings. Same thing. It gives you a daily reading. You can. I mean, for me, I'm a type 2 diabetic. That costs $200, but still, instead of poking my finger.
Yeah, right.
I'll have this little spoon that will also tell me older people like me, we're very prone to bacteria infections and urine tract bacteria infections. This will tell me how much bacteria I have in my blood. It's amazing. And, I don't know how quickly it's going to get approved. I assume it's going to get approved. But I'm hoping within 6 months, I get these two devices for $400. I'm good to go as far as monitoring my health.
It'll tell temperature, heart rate, blood O2, respiratory rate, electrocardiogram, and blood pressure. Yeah. Cool.
It's emergency room.
Yeah. That's exactly. Or Well, maybe you do rescue work, and you've done
Mhm.
training for at your work environment. So now, if someone collapses, one of this device may help you as an individual get a very accurate reading that either can tell you what you should do or that you can immediately communicate to the emergency response people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one, I don't know if it'll help us there because it's more, because you have to hold it yourself. Um,
Well,
not as
I don't know
useful
if you
that
have to
way.
hold it yourself, as long as it's getting the reading. So I don't think it makes any difference whether you're holding it or another person is holding it, because it's getting the reading.
You might be right, but I think there's a sensor on the top that you have to put your finger on,
Okay.
and it's using conduction through your body to get certain readings, and it has to be held to, I think, to your temple and the index finger reading at the same time. I think. I could be
Okay.
wrong, but that's what I remember from it. But yeah, a little bit of reading could tell us that.
Yeah. You're probably right. I just based on what I saw. Um, but still, I mean, hopefully, like I say, in 6 months, and $400. Okay, that's not cheap, but for all the things that it can do, wow, amazing. Um, okay, now I'll dip into kind of the weird technology. Weird to me. I got a Y chromosome here, so I don't know. And there's an article in the Guardian about vaginal speakers that let you play tunes to your fetus. And let me screen. I don't know if you really want me to screen share this, but I'll do it anyway. Okay, now this is the baby pod. Oh, there you go. Nice little pink
Yeah,
tool.
it's pink. That's for the girls.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Now, what do you do with that little pink little thing? Well, you
I don't know.
pregnant
Stick it up your
ladies.
ass.
Well, not your ass, but your vagina. And they're going to launch their first concert for fetuses. The 2009 Eurovision contest contender sings to pregnant women and their fetuses. There you go.
There it is.
That's how it works. Gonna cost
That's a
you.
green one there.
Yeah, it's gonna cost there. Yeah, well, I don't know. Um, I was hoping Pamela Taylor was going to be in a hangout. I wondered if what a woman thinks about this. Now the claim is now the device is going to cost 110 euros. I think euros are that's more in American dollars.
That's closest to a buck.
It's got a top sound level of 154 decibels, recommended for use from the 16th week of
No,
pregnancy.
just 54 decibels, not 154.
Yeah, that would blow up her insides.
Yeah.
Well, I assume then they won't be listening to heavy metal. I don't know. 10 or 20 minutes at a time. I was kind of wondering how long this thing is.
I think this is
Customers.
stupid.
I kind of go along with it. Apparently there are customers, and they claim the vibration device does not adversely affect the fetus, which are why sex toys are allowed in pregnancy. Well, I guess if you combine those two things, a vibrator with some sound, maybe that'll be a little bit more practical.
They're releasing a male version next year.
Got another kind. This kind of is weird science too. Well, I think it's weird. An English couple. This is an article in the Guardian, and they went to South Korea so they could clone their dog. They had their boxer Dylan. It died in June, and they're feeling terrible and were depressed because they had Dylan since he was a puppy. So what they said they're going to do, what they decided to do, was they went off to South Korea.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Let's see. The Soma Biotech Research Foundation offers dog cloning services for $100,000 per canine. It's the leading laboratory for dog cloning, which I didn't know was a thing. 700 dogs have been cloned. It involves implanting DNA into a blank dog egg that has had the nucleus removed. The egg is then given an electric shock to trigger cell division. There you go, just like Dr. Frankenstein. And it's implanted into a surrogate female dog. The two puppies are due to be born in the next few days. They'll have identical DNA to Dylan, are likely to resemble him physically, and now this got to be a disclaimer, share some of his personalities. I'm kind of skeptical about that part of it. And there are currently no regulations on the cloning of pets, but human cloning is illegal. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. The RSPCA, critical of dog cloning. There are serious ethical and welfare concerns relating to the application of cloning technology to animals. Cloning animals require procedures that cause pain and distress with extremely high failure and mortality rates. That's for the female dog, I guess, that's going to have this implanted. There is also a body of evidence that cloning dogs frequently suffer physical ailments such as tumors, pneumonia, and abnormal growth patterns. I don't know about this. And the thing is, there's so many other factors. You know, I mean, I'm sure it will look pretty closely to the old dog you had. But, I mean, there's so many epigenetic things happening that whether it's going to have that same personality, I think that's very, very much open to question.
Look, it's hungry. It's the same.
What do you guys think about dog cloning? Okay, you can do it. Is it really a good thing? And what about human cloning? At some point, do you think we should allow human cloning?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. You know, if someone wants to clone their dog, it was better. But yeah, if they want to do it and they have the money, fine. You know, let them clone their dog. They could spend a whole lot less money and just simply go get a new puppy. But you know, but for humans, hey, why not? You know, it's not going to be something that everybody's going to do. It's not going to have a big effect on the human genome.
Richard froze up there a bit. So we're bundles of code that are affected by the environment. People need to get over it.
Yeah.
I would say with human cloning, you do need some protocols. I think that the people doing it themselves, the scientists, they will establish. I'm not worried about scientific laboratories. They're pretty responsible. In fact, I probably trust the laboratories more than I do the politicians. It's the commercial use of it. You know, companies, the for-profit companies, that would be the greater concern for me.
Well, I think I'm going to turn in, guys, on that note.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's been a pleasure. I haven't done one of these in a while, so I will see you all next week.
Okay, I'll see you, Dale.
Okay, bye, guys.
Let's see. I got anything else here? I only had one other story. I don't know, Richard, if you want to.
I keep freezing, and I don't know what my connection is. My eldest daughter is at home, so she's probably on the internet. And I just have lousy bandwidth out here anyway. Even though I'm on DSL,
Yeah, we got to do something about our man. I think the United States in general, for a very rich country, supposedly one of the richest countries in the world, our internet really is. I think the surveys I've seen were like 6th or 7th in the world. It's mostly Japan and Korea and the Asian countries that have much better internet.
Yeah, like South Korea has got fantastic internet compared to us.
Yeah. I'll just ask you. I mean, there was an article. In fact, Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking, they've been talking about they're worried about robotics, panic, the panic in robotics. I'm not worried in the slightest.
Me either.
They're very smart people, okay, but first off, we're very far away. We're decades away from any kind of a self-replicating artificial intelligence, AI,
right,
that could reach the point of making its own decisions about what it's going to do, and maybe how it's going to interact with people. I think that's science fiction. You agree, Richard?
Yeah, I mean, everyone.
Okay, Richard agrees with me.
Well, I'm back. Oh God, keep freezing. It's just terrible. It's the robots. That's what it is. It's the robots are outside making and breaking the wires and going, we'll fix him. Boink. Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, think of in astronomy, the wealth of data we're getting.
Deluge of data. Yeah.
And you got to have robots. You got to have those super smart computers. They're the only ones who can really, churn through all that data, and let them do all the grunt work.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's happening now. The pipelines are just huge, and there's no way a human can sift through it all. So it's got to be done by computers, but the computers are, they're not. That's a long way from quote computer to quote killbot.
Oh yeah, very definitely. And even now, the Large Hadron Collider, where they made this finding, they found this thing, and it's going to be years before they can analyze it. And even, you've got a bunch of scientists coming out with papers, but really, it's going to take a long time to analyze the data. The data we get from Mars or these other places, it's going to be months, maybe even a year before we can really analyze that to any high degree.
Yep. Yeah, and the ALMA radio telescope in Chile is just pouring up.
I'm not going to frustrate you anymore with your problems on the internet. And like I say, I didn't get much sleep. I'm ready to crash myself. Great
I'm ready to
on.
freeze, apparently.
That's right. Okay, guys, I'm gonna tie this thing up. I'm going to stop the broadcast.